Hello. What's going on? What's good? How's it going? I need to get a YouTube banner, to be honest. That's like a thing that I need to do. I need to buckle down and get that. Who is Speed? He's a streamer. I show Speed. I mean, I'll show him in the stream. Give me a second. He unfortunately did get boomed. Only temporarily though. He only got temporarily banned. So it's not. I mean, but I'm gonna be honest. I mean, I understand why he got banned, but at the same time, I don't think he should have. At the same time, it's like I understand it, but at the same time, I don't think he warranted anything that that needed it. If you know what I'm saying. Yeah, he is the guy that jumped the cars. Technically, yeah. I mean, he's done. That's not something I've known about him. I've known about him for longer than that, than before they just jumped the cars. But yeah, he is the guy that jumped the cars. Basically, he did get banned for jumping the cars. That's what he got banned for. But that's not like the main reason that I want to talk about it. The main reason I wanted to talk about it is because of this guy right here. I thought about making a video about this. This is what I was debating on. I was debating on this one and my one that I decided on. But I was like, you know what? I don't think this guy has enough clout to need to get a video. I don't think people care about this guy that much. Anyway, it's because of this guy being a hateful little shit. He's this guy right here, this fucking NPC being a hateful little shit. That's the main reason why I want to talk about this shit. Because this guy, okay, first of all, homie, I mean, he's a kid YouTuber. He's a kid YouTube content creator. And so, first of all, that's the main thing he does. Clearly, as we can see, like, yeah, he does not have an audience over the age of 10. Okay, it's 9 and younger. Anyway, he always does like these Fortnite videos, and he's like tries to choreograph the people for the YouTube videos, like whenever like the Fortnite events happen. And so he saw this what Speed did, and when the first time he jumped over a car, and had this to say.
This is a video that he edited, and then where is it? Hey, I'm not gonna lie, it looks really real. Like,
yeah, because he actually did that shit.
Sure. Yeah, there's no way he's jumping over a car like that. Nah, bro. How did it get to a stop right there that quick? It was fake. So what it is?
How'd they get you to stop that
masking.
fake?
So what they do, they film the Lamborghini driving, right, and they mask it out, or they mask out Speed so that he's jumping over nothing right.
Yeah, so he said that shit, and then Speed literally, I think a day later, came out and did two which was this video. That's one. Oh, that was two. That was the second one. So Speed came out and said, you know what? I see you that, and then I raise you. And then Nick A30 came in and just said, I just jumped over a car. It was so scary.
I got a pretty high jump.
First time ever doing it.
And it was clearly fake. Because you can see in... You cannot see his image reflection on the car. It was clearly fake. Whereas this guy, first of all, Speed did multiple cars, and it has multiple angles of it. And you can see it, like, here, let me pause the video. You can see him in the reflection right there. You can see him right there. So you can tell that it's not fake. And, like, I'm not even going to go into, like, this is, like, he has multiple camera angles. I mean, I guess you could fake it, but it's, like, from different sources, too. And this was done on live stream. But this is the reason why Speed got banned, was because of this. Because he did these stunts. It violated YouTube's terms of service. I assume promoting behavior that could very well kill you if you weren't an athletic freak like Speed is. And Speed is an athletic freak, I'm not gonna lie. He could if he wasn't an influencer, he could be an athlete. It's wild.
Are you the real Nick A30?
Yeah.
It's probably gonna it's promoting dangerous behavior. Which I'm thinking, like, pretty much anyone with a brain cell knows that you're not going to be jumping over a Lamborghini, but I guess, like, you'll have dumb teenagers, mostly white teenagers, that think they can get away with anything and do anything, and they do that shit, and probably really, really hurt themselves. I want to go to Spirit Halloween. I don't know what that is. I know what Spirit is. Spirit is a good movie. Buyer movie. Love that horse. Look it up. Could I look it up on stream, or do I actually have to look it up on a different thing? So because it's wait. On stream? Okay, I'll look it up on stream. Get ready, Gracie.
Mutant intruder neutralized.
The name's Remy Labo. Du Diable Blanc.
No, I think he was before.
You can call me the Gambit.
Yeah, it was before.
Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself.
Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself here. I love that shit. I love that shit. What, Spirit Halloween? World's #1 Halloween costume store. Spirit Halloween. Where is it? Oh, I've been waiting for this. Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself here. Where is it? They rent out stores for a season, then leave. Nice. Hell yeah. Are they renting one close to here? Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself here. Closest is an hour away. Yeah, but where would that be in an hour away? Would it be like Tupelo? I assume Tupelo. Probably Tupelo. Woo, I'm about to make a name for myself here. When do they rent them? Do they rent them like near October? Not coming to Tupelo this year, I think. Then that's it. Then where else would it be? That's an hour away. This is the actual clip, by the way.
Ooh, I'm about to make a name.
Never mind. Ooh, I'm about to make a name for myself here. No, I actually legitimately really I respect Channing Tatum. Even though I don't agree with like the casting choice, he clearly got really into the role and actually cared about the character. And you know what? As a fellow nerd, I respect the shit out of that. I respect the shit out of that dog. I love that shit. Tuscaloosa? That would be an hour away. Tuscaloosa would be... That makes sense. Spirit Halloween. What should I be for Halloween? I don't ever really cared about Halloween, so I don't really know. What is Bakersfield? Oh, it had an earthquake. Earthquake live on stream? Holy shit. The content just makes itself. Bro, imagine if there was an earthquake here. I would actually lose it. I'm not going to lie. That would be fire content. That would be crazy. I would love that shit. I just want to experience one once in my life. A siren and a pirate. We don't have fault lines. I know, but we can still like... I think we can still like get them. It's just like... I know we've had some here, or if we felt some here before. I know that we have. It's just very rarely, and it's because of things that are farther away. So it's just like an after effect or something like that shit. But I know we've had some here before. Just, I've never felt one, unfortunately. Siren and a pirate. Why a siren and a pirate? You know what a siren looks like, Gracie? Sirens. Like it would be Jack Sparrow. I don't really like the pirate vibe. I don't like the pirate vibe, to be honest. I'm not a pirate vibe person. Although I do like the shirt. I do like the shirts, like just the actual shirts. I don't really like anything else, but the shirts are nice because they look very light and they look like they're cool, as in like temperature wise. It's like that, like this shirt right here, like that white thing right there. It just looks, it looks light and it looks cool, temperature wise. I don't really like the vest. I don't really like the pants. The boots are okay. The coat's nice-ish. It's nice-ish. I wouldn't like. It wouldn't be my first choice. But it's nice-ish. It's nice adjacent. I want to look what historical pirates look like. Nice. I think being a Viking couple could be cool, and we could even spin it to where it'd be like we could be like an older Hiccup and Astrid, to be honest. I got the beard for it. You don't have blonde hair though, unfortunate. You got curly hair though, which is another. Anyway, that's about the personal shit on stream. No more personal shit. I keep my personal life and work life separate, like a good working class citizen. I don't know why I get commented this. I get recommended this. I haven't really looked at Ezekiel Elliott since what? 2017? 2018? What's the standings? They're still in the lead, but their lead is not that good anymore. 2-8 in the last 10. That's fucking awful. Holy shit. Yankees are going. Ooh, the Orioles. I didn't know the Orioles were that good. Damn. Oh yeah, look at this. Look at this. We in the lead. We in the lead by 2 gold medals. And let's not even look at the medal count, because you already know we got that shit on lock. And we're going to get 2 more guaranteed gold medals because of men and women's basketball. Guaranteed. I don't even look. You may say, "Oh, Serbia may be." No, they won't. They won't. And then we may get a third with U.S. women's soccer. We don't talk about the U.S. men's soccer. So that's 3 more. And then I know we're probably going to get more in the track. I think we have a really good our 400-meter hurdle women's. I forgot her name, but she's a stud, a fucking stud. She's literally breaking, just continuously breaking her own world records at this point. Like, actually goated. I don't know what other events we have. We won in women's freestyle wrestling. Nice. We won in women's 200. Oh, yeah. Oh, I want to talk about her, actually, because she is amazing. I forgot her name. Who was it? Thomas? No. That wasn't it. Who was it? Was it her? Yeah, it was Gabby Thomas. I'll let this guy. Let's see this guy do it.
Let me introduce you to maybe the most incredible Olympian in all of the Olympics, Gabby Thomas. Graduated from Harvard at 22 years old.
Goated.
A master's degree from the University of Texas.
Even more goated.
And now just became an Olympic gold medalist at 27 years old over 200 meters. Gabby Thomas. She
Good
set the
shit.
collegiate record in the 200 meters at Harvard, then became a professional. Only ran the second fastest time over 200 meters in the history of America. And now, of all the incredible things that Gabby Thomas is, she is officially an Olympic champion. If you desire, aspire, have a want to be like anybody in this world, be like Gabby Thomas. She's your favorite role model's favorite role.
Goat shit. An actual icon. Love that. I wonder what she graduated with. Bright. She got silver in the 2020, but that was on the 4x1 relay. Oh, she got bronze in the 200 meter during Tokyo. How old was she then? I don't know. So she's actually, that's nice. She's got gold now. That's actually really, really nice. I just want to know her. I'm probably one of the only people who PhD at Emory University, but yeah, I want to know what she went to school for, because I'm curious. Neurobiology, holy shit. And in May, finished her master's degree in epidemiology. Fuck. That's where she literally is completing side quests with the Olympics. That's how like, imagine being able to say that. Imagine going to the Olympics and winning gold and be like, yeah, I'm just completing a side quest. It's not my main story. It's not my main storyline. Imagine. Athletics. We won in the men's 1500, which is which was a big upset because Josh Kerr, a fellow Carr and Kerr, related somewhere along the lines, respect, but you took the L to America, baby. And the guy that beat him got an Olympic record. Let's fucking go. He should not, and the thing is, he should not have been on the podium. Neither of the Americans should have been on the podium. It was really a race between. It was really thought to be a race between the second place, Josh Kerr, and the third place, who I'm blanking on the name, but I'm pretty sure he's from Norway. But in the end, these two Americans came in and upset them. Well, one upset the favorite, and the other guy upset the second favorite. Women's individual golf tomorrow. We may win. I don't know. I haven't been keeping up with that. I didn't keep up with golf either. Why is the women so far out, so far different? Oh, I guess maybe because they're playing the same course, and so they play the same course at different times, so they don't have to interlap. I guess that makes sense. Lost the men's welterweight. Lost the 3,000 meter steeplechase, that race. Didn't even place for that one. The medal race for women's dinghy is tomorrow. What the hell is women dinghy? Is that just okay, I know. Okay, I thought that's what a dinghy was, but I'm trying. How is this an Olympics sport? Oh, that's a very different dinghy. That is a very different dinghy from what it is. But even still, like, that's crazy. That's some crazy shit. They off the boat. Wild. Springboard diving. Oh yeah, China won a couple events in diving, which is kind of wild and whack. It's not a sport. You don't need to be athletic for that. I'm just kidding. Anyway. Women's pole vault. I think we got second in men's pole vault, if I remember correctly. Obviously, first was this guy, Duplantis, who is from America, by the way. He was from America and went to college at LSU, but decided to go to the Olympics and international events in Sweden, which, I mean, makes sense from, like, a marketing standpoint. Like, why? I mean, if you, like, undisputed GOAT at something, which he was setting, like, records, world records, even before this. He literally just broke his own world record at the Olympics. So, I mean, if you like win gold medals here, clearly, I mean, we are not hurting in the gold medal department, which he would be noted, but not nearly as much as he would be in Sweden, where he's probably considered like a fucking god there. So, understandable. Yeah, he breaks his own world record. And then he did the turkey guy's pose, yeah, in celebration. After though, right immediately after he broke the world record, he ran straight to the stands to hug and kiss his girlfriend, which is sweet. But yeah, we got second place in the event though. Silver. Bro, look at the difference. Look at the difference. 5.95 in the world record. And he got the world record at 6.25. Bro, he won. Duplantis won, and then he just continued going. Just say, fuck it. Let's see if I can break the world record. Fuck it. Why not? Run it. Run that shit. As a fellow pole vaulter, I respect it, and I understand. Oh yeah, Nick A30 also came out and said that he faked the video too. So it wasn't just like... It's not just me saying that, he said it himself. Excuse me.
Logan Paul
I didn't click on that. I already watched it though. Watched it yesterday, last stream. Check that shit out. What is happening? What is happening, bro? What is going on? Nice. Anyway, I don't think anything else. There's anything else to talk about. Dragoneer? What is this? Dragoneer. Owner of Fur Affinity. This is what Dragoneer was going through up until 4 hours ago. If nothing else spread... Oh. I don't want to talk about that. That's so sad. Prayers up. Do do do, doobie doobie doo da, doobie doobie doo da. Hey, Agent P. Let's see. Not by the hair of my chinny chin chin. I'm just saying shit. I'm not gonna lie. I'm just yapping right now. Trying to think of what to do, things to say. I don't want to talk about my YouTube video because I'll talk about that on the YouTube video. But what else is there to say? Boo. I don't. Obviously, what do you mean? Don't give me that. Don't give me that. But you could say I love them a lot. Oh, I need to log in to get my daily rewards for a game. Boo! I think I have an idea of what I want to talk about. I want to talk about, I mean, since I read this book, I feel like I need to discuss it. Let me go get this book, to be honest, because honestly, it's a wild book. I want to see if I can even find it. Okay. I can't find it without rummaging through my through my clothes. So I'm gonna look it up. It was a book about Alexander, Alexander the Great, that we had to read for my World Civ class, and I just want to discuss it. More books. I can identify it by the cover. I know that cover. I say that, but Conquest, no. I want to discuss it because it was an interesting book. It didn't really tell a lot about his conquests, which kind of made me sad, and it more so told about the person himself, which I guess is interesting if you want to like psychoanalyze him. But I'm like, I don't really care. I mean, I do care about the person, but I also wanted to read about the, you know, the his like exploits as well, because you know he's like he's a military genius that never lost a battle. I kind of want to hear about that, but I guess that's not what the book was doing. But I'm like, hey, if you just like make it a little bit longer, because it's not a long book. It was not a long book, so I mean, fair for the class. I mean, it wasn't that hard of a book to read. But then at the same time, you gave us a really long book about the it was this one. Yeah, but at the same time, you gave us a big book about the Mongol Empire, which, I mean, I don't complain about because I love the Mongol Empire. It was fucking the largest continuous empire in the history of the world, by the way. Honestly, goated shit, but at the same time, it's like, I'd rather have, like, read more about... I would have rather read more about Alexander the Great, because, I mean, I already knew a good fair bit about the Mongol Empire. More so than Alexander the Great. But it was this book, Alexander the Great, Journey to the End of the Earth. And it didn't even cover, like, and then it kind of skimmed his, it skimmed over his, like, very beginning, the very end of his years. It basically was like, and then he died. But I also think one of my favorite parts about Alexander's myth, and it probably didn't happen, but I like to think it did, was whenever he was on his deathbed, his generals came around him and it was like, Alexander, who will your empire go to? And he most likely said his son. More likely than not, said his son. But his generals probably came up with this, but I like to think he did it because I just think it's, you know, this is my headcanon, okay? This is only for me. And allegedly he said it too, so I'm not just making it up, but it just probably didn't happen, but I like to believe that it did. You know what, I have faith in the generals. What ulterior motives could they have to not saying the empire went directly to his son? It must have happened. But allegedly, he said it goes to the strongest. And I just think that's so incredibly badass. I don't know. It's just me. It may just be me. It probably just me. But I just think, like, whenever you're on your deathbed, your generals ask who your empire's going to go to the fucking strongest. That's like my guy Caleb Giles, or was it Caleb Giles? Yeah, I know his last name was Giles. Giles Corey. I knew it was Giles somewhere in there. And I got the K right. And so basically he was executed during the witch trials, and then on when he was about to execute, during his form of execution, he was having stones being put on him with the wooden plank. And so basically they were trying to get this confession out of him, and they were continuously putting more and more on until he confessed. And like, please, are you just going to confess? And he eventually he just said, more weight. Like, that's the type of shit I love. Like, I love the badass just ending notes. Which Alexander may not have even been dead. He may have just been in some type of coma, and an acute coma or something like that. He may not have been dead and could have possibly been buried alive. Essentially, he could have possibly woken up, and because his body allegedly did not decay, so there's some theories that posit that he had this specific form of thing because of his alcohol, specific form of like disease because of like maybe his alcoholism or something like that. Anyway, it was more so about his character, showing that he was prideful, which, I mean, understandable. If you never lost a battle, I'd be pretty prideful too. But at the same time, he was kind of, I mean, I just think he's fucking goated. He was gay as fuck. I mean, he was less, I mean, he was not as promiscuous as other Macedonians at the time, because he only had one lover, or promiscuous in like a gay sense. He only had one gay lover, and that was someone basically because he wanted to emulate Achilles, so he wanted to emulate his life, so he found I would say his Patroclus found him, not the other way around. And I forgot what his name was, but he was distraught and went into an alcoholic oh yeah, you do. And he went into like an alcoholic spell after he died in battle. It was one of his generals. But his gay lover was significantly older than him and was the one that initiated it. It was not him. It was Hephaestion, yeah. Oh, so that's why it was Hephaestion. And this was after Hephaestion died. But he also, I mean, he also had other affairs with Darius's wife, King Darius's wife, and his daughter, I believe, or one of his daughters. Roxana, I'm pretty sure. Oh, never mind. Not Darius' daughter. Darius' daughter married. He actually let one of Darius's. I forgot what they were called, but they were kind of like just basically that like lords of like a specific county in Darius's land. So he was betrothed to Darius's daughter before Alexander's conquest, and Alexander still let him marry Darius' daughter in exchange for his fealty, which was smart. And Statira was Darius' wife. Or no? Who was his wife? I know. Maybe he didn't marry him. Yeah, he didn't marry his wife. He just had an affair with his wife and then told Darius that he had an affair with his wife. What are we doing? So there was two Statiras. The Statira had a daughter who was named Statira. Anyway, I don't care. That's my soapbox about Alexander the Great and that book specifically. It was just I just wish, because it wasn't. Let me look at it again, because I want to look at the exact page count, because it wasn't a long book. What was the page count? 192 pages. It's not a long book. I just wish it, because compare it to this one that I had to read, which was, give me the book, 312 pages. It could have been, if it was 312 pages, I would have ate that shit up. If it was 312 pages and then just proceeded to describe like the battles and stuff, like kind of, I mean, this one discussed more so. It says Genghis Khan in the cover, but it was like, Genghis Khan is a big part of it, but it was more, I would say, is more so about the Mongol Empire in totality than just specifically Genghis Khan, because I mean, there's a small section in the beginning that discussed Jack Weatherford and him finding the secret history of Genghis Khan and the history of Genghis Khan just in general, but it was only like the intro and stuff, which still was a pretty good long intro, which then it got into Temujin aka Genghis Khan, and his life, and then the last half is like the Mongol Empire as a whole. So it's weird. Still a good book though. In my opinion. You found another village? Village in what? Oh, in the game, you found another village. Does it have a waypoint? Nice. I want to look. I'm gonna look it up. Yeah, that is wild. So Darius ended up a wife and having a child with Darius's wife. Basically, she didn't marry. She had a child with Alexander that didn't make it. It was not a successful childbirth. Then after that, the daughter, also being a wife, who's also named Stateira, married Alexander. Which is wild. I knew I wasn't tripping. The double Stateira confused me. I'm not gonna lie. But then I brought it back. Darius the Third. Great King Darius. I want to listen to Alexander's speech, I'm gonna be honest. This was the speech. So, his men wanted to go back home because they were super tired. His men wanted to go back home. And it was like, we're homesick. We want to go back home. Please just let us go home. Please, just let us go home. We've been at this for I don't know how many years. We've conquered so many lands. We don't want to go any further. Alexander at this point saw himself more so as an adventurer than a conqueror, and was just like, well, I just want to go. I want to go until I see the other side of the ocean. That's how far I want to go. And so at this point, they just crossed. I think they almost crossed into India. Or maybe they did cross into India. But I know they were about to cross into India. And then he was like, just let us go a little bit further. And they were like, okay, fine, we can go a little bit further. They went a little bit further, won a big battle against the Indian... I forgot who it was. But it was a big battle, and they won against elephants and stuff. Which they may have seen elephants. I don't know if they have or not. But they won a big battle then. They've gone the furthest they've ever been, and they were like, okay, that's it. We're calling it quits. We don't want to go anymore. But this was the speech that got them to do that.
When you get...
They returned to Opis near modern Baghdad, where Alexander ordered some of his Macedonian veterans to return home. But angry at perceived insults to their honor as well as Alexander's adoption of Persian customs, they mutinied. See, the thing is, Alexander, whenever he was conquering things, he was like, I want this shit to last. So he was trying to adopt the Persian culture as much as he could and like fuse it with the own Macedonian culture, which they did not appreciate and they did not like. But Alexander was just it was interesting to say the least, but it was not very good for the perception of his men. But at the same time, he also still gained a lot of perception of his men because of stuff you'll hear about in the speech. And so this was him wanting to go past the Indus River.
What I'm about to say isn't
I
meant to
think
stop you
the
returning
pass
home.
into the Indus River, at least.
As far as I care, you can go wherever you wish. But I want you to know how you have behaved towards me, and how I have treated you.
He really gives them an "I'm not mad, I'm just
Begin,
disappointed"
as is right, with
speech.
my father, Philip. When he found you, you were mere peasants, wearing a
And
harp.
Philip was the one that instituted like the main probably one of the main successes that one of the main reasons for Macedonian success, and that was their, I forgot what it's called, but it was basically a super long spear. It's just a super long spear where you can, I mean, that's pretty much the entire point of like the advancement of warfare, is trying to hit the other people without them hitting you, and the best way to do that is with really long sticks, with spears. And then when it wasn't with spears, it was with slingshots, and if it wasn't with slingshots, it was with archers, and then it was with guns. So that's just basically that's the entire point of warfare. And he basically innovated this super long spear and implemented it into a normal Greek phalanx.
Tending a few sheep on the mountain slopes, and you could barely defend them from your neighbors. Under him, you began living in cities.
And
with
then
good
Alexander
laws and
basically
customs.
took this
He
and
turned you from slaves
combined it with
into
really good
rulers of those
strategy
very
and put it into
barbarians who
practice.
used to plunder your land. He conquered most of Thrace, taking the best harbors so there was trade and prosperity, and put the mines to steady work. The Thessalians, they used to terrify you. Well, we rule them now. The Athenians and Thebans, always looking for a chance to attack Macedonia, were so humbled, myself playing my small part in the
He
war.
decimated
that they
Thebes,
no
by
longer-
the way. He destroyed Thebes. Alexander did. And to where, like, he destroyed Thebes so bad that it got to the point where the native Greek population did not like this man one bit. They did not like this man at all because of how dirty he did Thebes. Like, he fucked them up. Was it this one or this one? Let's do this one. He fucked them up.
By 2050, there will...
Of all the enlightened intellectuals, brilliant artisans, cutthroat generals, and great kings in world history, Alexander the Great is undeniably the most renowned and debated.
Goat
Was
shit.
this most legendary Macedonian king an enlightened ruler or a debauching tyrant? Did he eventually succumb to
I would say
alcohol
both.
or belief in his own godhood? We here at Kings and Generals...
Oh, he most definitely believed. I don't know. I guess you can't really say for sure, but he most likely definitely believed in his own godhood. Which, I mean, go off, king. I guess. See, I would have been like... I guess if you're like... I don't know. I guess from a certain perspective, it's not. It makes sense to be like, oh, I'm a divine ruler. My family lineage is divine. But because he believed, or his mother told him, that he was the son of Zeus, and Philip was not his true father. He was actually the son of Zeus. Zeus came onto her, and out popped Alexander. And basically, he went after taking Egypt. He went on this pilgrimage to this oracle through the desert. He went through the desert to this on a pilgrimage to this oracle with a small group of men. I think Hephaestion was in it, as well as who is he? It was the lineage of Cleopatra, Ptolemy, as well as Ptolemy. But that may have just been me talking shit, saying shit out of my ass because of the documentary I watched that probably took liberties with who went with them for a dramatic effect. But he did go to this oracle, and he did go through the desert just to see this. And so basically the oracle said he was the son of Amun, which is one of the chief Egyptian gods who is worshipped as the king of the gods. So basically he took this meaning that he was the son of Zeus because he equaled Amun with Zeus, because Amun was their king of the gods. So he was like, well, same thing, I guess. Same thing, equal, which is interesting. And he touted this and everything. But at the same time, I'd be like, I think it's more impressive to do all this as a human, though, in my opinion, without any divine blood. But that's just my opinion. I think that's why I have a soft spot for Odysseus. He's just a goat. Doing it as a human, says he's a human, just says, yeah, I'm a human. What you gonna do about it? I'm a human. I've done shit that even demigods can't do.
After a long delay, hope to provide some
like
insight
that.
into all of those
Skill
myriad
issue.
questions and many, many more. Welcome to our series on the stunning conquests of King of Macedon, Alexander III. Our father, Alexander, modern correction Second of Macedon died to an assassin's dagger, leaving his ascendant
mysteriously dies by an assassin dagger because the assassin died, so he couldn't really say why he did it or who ordered him. Probably Alexander's mother, but who's to say, really? Who's to say?
As soon as the monarch's body had
and then his other children Philip's other children that he had with his other wife mysteriously died too.
Removed,
how did that happen?
And order was restored.
We don't know.
Antipater,
we don't
one
talk about
of Philip's most respected generals, immediately backed the late king's 20-year-old second son Alexander, who ascended to the throne as Alexander III. This young king inherited 3 key things from his father. Firstly, the new Macedonian army, with its stalwart phalanx, brilliant cavalry, and exceptional marshals. Secondly, the Hellenic League, a post-Chaeronea hegemony over every other Greek state except Sparta. Finally, Alexander inherited a Macedonian bridgehead in Western Asia Minor, manned by 10,000 troops under generals Parmenion and Attalus. But these inheritances
Parmenion
were
was
tenuous,
an amazing
and
general
to
too,
keep
by the
them,
way.
Alexander would have to
really
fight,
experienced,
politic, and appease, showing his
but
mettle. The new
Alexander did not like him because Parmenion was very traditional and still basically of the old guard. So they kind of butted heads, you know. Because that's like old heads and the new age always butt heads. Like that trend on TikTok where you have those millennials the millennials saying Gen Z, they think they're trying to cancel Eminem. They wouldn't last a day back when we were kids. They don't know about that life.
King and his ruthless mother, Olympias, immediately conducted a dynastic purge of key opponents. A loyal friend was dispatched to Asia Minor, where, probably by compromising on military commands, he flipped Parmenion to Alexander's side, and subsequently assassinated Attalus, who had been conspiring with external enemies. That decisive stroke purged perhaps the most threatening internal rival to Alexander's kingship.
Yep.
Philip's death had also left the wider geopolitical situation incredibly unstable, triggering anti-Macedonian rumblings in the conquered Greek states, particularly Thebes and Athens, as well as unrest in subdued tribal areas such as Thrace and Illyria.
Thebes.
Although advised by Antipater and others to remain cautious, Alexander, as he ever would, instead chose boldness and audacity.
He said, "Let me
He
set an
grabbed
example."
3,000 hand-picked cavalry and sped south along the coastal road in order to reassert royal authority. Arriving at the Vale of Tempe, Alexander found the pass between Mount Olympus and Mount Ossa held against him by a strong Thessalian force, who told the king to halt while they decided whether or not to admit him. Unwilling to sit by while this recalcitrant vassal blocked his path, Alexander had his men carve steps into the seaward side of Mount Ossa, rode his entire force over, and came up on the Thessalians from behind. He was quickly acknowledged as their overlord after that, and moved on unhindered.
They quickly bitched out. They were like, nah. We're just kidding. It was just a prank, bro. Just a prank, bro.
With blistering speed, Alexander rode south and had the symbolically important Amphictyonic Council declare him hegemon at Thermopylae. Then, before the Greeks even knew what was happening, the Macedonian king materialized outside Thebes, shocking the proud city and assuring its temporary submission. Athens, which always chafed under Macedonian rule, nevertheless sent envoys north, assuring Alexander of its loyalty. His boldness, daring, and ability having scared the Greeks into passivity, Alexander convened the Hellenic League at Corinth, had his status confirmed, and then returned to Macedon. He did all of this in the course of 2 short months. The winter
Really
leading
consolidated
to
power
335 BC
really quickly.
was spent giving the Macedonian army a crash course in mountain warfare. Now that Greece had been dealt with, Alexander needed to neutralize the rowdy tribes of Thrace and Illyria, so that they were not a threat at home during the upcoming Persian invasion. When spring of 335 arrived, Alexander advanced north from Amphipolis at the head of 12,000 heavy infantry, Peshetyroi, 8,000 lighter infantry, and 3,000 cavalry. Arrian states that the Macedonian army first faced real Thracian opposition at Mount Haemus, where the lower slopes of the mountain rise through a narrow defile. This was probably the modern Shipka Pass. There, a substantial force of Thracians occupied the high pass, fronting their defensive position with a wagon fort. But Alexander, prescient both to his own weakness and the Thracians' offensive bent, realized that it was their plan to send the wagons crashing into his locked phalanx. He warned the heavy infantry of this and carefully instructed them how to deal with the situation. With that taken care of, Alexander ordered the ascent. Archers off to the right, phalanx regiments in the center, and his hypaspists on the left. As predicted, the Thracians sent their wagons careening down the mountain, straight at the tightly packed Macedonians. Following their king's instruction, the Phalangites calmly broke formation and opened gaps to let the wagons go by harmlessly, if terrain allowed, and lay prone with their locked shields above their head if not. Not a single soldier was lost to the Thracian ploy, and the Macedonians rose to their feet with a cheer, morale at a high.
They try to win by trolling. That's what they try to do. They try to scam them. That's what Like,
With
I
the
mean, I'm
primary
fair.
threat dealt
Work
with,
smarter, not harder, I
Alexander
guess.
ordered the right flank archers to take up position in front of the phalanx, where they repelled a number of weak Thracian attacks by loosing arrow volleys. When the heavy troops, whose advance was eased by the archers, reached the lip of the pass, they easily dislodged an enemy whose armor and weaponry was nowhere near theirs. 1,500 tribesmen were killed, but a significant number more managed to escape. Captured women, children, equipment, and goods were sent back to raise much needed funds.
He said, fund that war machine!
Descending onto the Danubian plain and the land of the Trebellians, Alexander encamped 3 days
Okay, just get to the thieves conquest.
sent from Byzantines, infantry, rather than Cite, crossed the Danube from with across the great 400 phalanx capped to a Macedonians head of Thracians boys of the ship. They were small cut, rather also Lyrian old Arians and a camp. The result would be inevitable. Alexander thought fast and came up with a ploy.
He was
He
surrounded
drew up
here, and
the
this
Sarissa phalanx into a mass formation.
really interesting.
120
I don't know
miles
how he
deep,
got out of
flanked
this.
by 200 cavalry on either side. Then the king had his highly disciplined infantry
He's
conduct drills.
literally
To
surrounded,
signal, the phalangites would have, in perfect unison,
and literally because of their army's aura, he made them bitch out and leave. Because of just their sheer aura of them drilling.
to horizontal. Like a programmed
They made them.
machine
He
of
made them
war,
second
they
guess themselves.
pivoted right, left, back and forth again, all in utter silence. Disconcerted and enthralled by this unprecedented display of martial prowess, the barbarians were not ready when Alexander gave his final signal. Suddenly, the infantry clattered their spears against their shields and raised a war cry. At the same time, the left flank of the Macedonian Hetyroi seamlessly formed into a wedge and charged a portion of Glaucius's men guarding the hills. The demoralized Taulantians, taken aback by the charge
They
and
literally
the noise,
ran away.
mostly abandoned their hilltop positions,
Which is
and
wild.
into Pelion.
You had them surrounded, more men, and because of some drills and a war cry, you got pitched out.
Taking advantage of the opportunity
How does that
his maneuvering
happen?
had
How does that
created,
happen?
Alexander marched his army towards an escape route, a ford in the Apsus just east of Pelion. He secured a hill overlooking it without resistance, and ordered the Hypaspes to cross first, followed by the phalanx. Realizing their quarry might be about to escape the trap, the tribesmen turned, descending on the crossing point. But Alexander, the companions and Agrianes valiantly protected it for long enough that siege catapults could be set up on the far side, where they began bombarding the Illyrians. This first ever use of field artillery and covering fire from archers allowed the crossing to be completed, and all of a sudden the Macedonians were free. Not having lost a single man in extracting his army,
Not having
and
lost a
content
single
with
man
just
is
running
wild.
away, Alexander withdrew a few miles from the Pelium area and waited, sending out constant scouting parties to see what Glaucius and Cletus were doing. After 3 days of general recuperation, a reconnaissance force returned with good news. Believing Alexander was gone, the Illyrians were strung out, encamped without sentries, fortifications, or trenches. Sensing that an opportunity was ripe for the taking, Alexander assembled his usual crack force of companions, Agrianes, and some archers, and went on the attack. Under the cover of a dark night, the Macedonian king moved back into the valley, and with his Agrianians at the forefront, assaulted the unsuspecting Illyrians on a narrow front.
Bruh.
It was a slaughter.
How?
As
I don't
Arion relates,
understand.
Some they killed in their beds, others they took without difficulty. More
That's crazy. He won that.
However, Alps and Athens.
Oh, and here comes the
Without
Thebes.
mountains
He goes
long
down
after
to
that,
Thebes.
In September 330. He and his grizzled army were taking up positions outside Thebes, much to the disbelief of the city's inhabitants. There was surely no way for an army of such a scale to arrive with such speed.
They revolted.
from a
They were
far-off
like, "Now's the
barbarian
time."
Country.
They thought
Moreover,
thought he
Alexander
was
dead
weakened.
anyway, as the rumors said. So
Because-
this must have
yeah,
been
because
an
of this
army
rumor.
Of new Macedonian recruits under Antipater. Only slowly did the Thebans realize, to their consternation, that Alexander was indeed still alive and in charge. Fortunately for Thebes, the king's temper had cooled and he was willing to be reasonable. Keen to reconcile with Greece so he could look to his Pan-Hellenic war against the Achaemenid Empire, Alexander merely demanded that 2 of the uprising's ringleaders, Phoenix and Prothotes, be handed over, and everything else could be forgiven. The Thebans spat on this olive branch, making a brazen counter-demand that Philotas and Antipater should instead be handed to them.
Which is a bold statement.
All who wanted Greece free from this...
I mean, I guess to their credit, they're not doing what the other people did and bitch out.
Macedonian tyrant.
They said, we double down
under the banner of the great king and Thebes. As Alexander flew into a rage at this nerve-grazing comment, Theban light infantry streamed from the gates and made lightning attacks on the Macedonian siege works with ranged weapons, killing a decent number of the king's troops and even approaching his main position before they were repulsed. Night fell, passed, and then the sun rose again, at which time Alexander shifted his army south to the Electra Gate, which was within shouting distance of his beleaguered garrison at the Cadmea fortress. It is somewhat difficult to reconcile the disparate accounts of what came next. However, after 3 days, it seems as though a segment of Thebes' army, smaller than Alexander's, left the walls and deployed to face the king, who arrayed a greater part of the relentless phalanx to meet them. Other smaller units were seconded to assault the city walls and attempted to breach the city, while another small contingent under Perdiccas remained in reserve close to the palisade. As Roman historian Quintus Curtius Rufus relates of the main clash, the Macedonians exerted a force that could hardly be withstood because of the numbers of their men and the weight of the phalanx, but the Thebans were superior in bodily strength and in their constant training in the gymnasium. Fighting with
in the
grim
gymnasium
determination to defend their families and city from slavery, the defenders came within a hair's breadth of breaking the phalanx. However, at the decisive moment, the mobile reserve units under Perdiccas outflanked the Theban line and managed to break into the city itself, swiftly followed by a detachment of Alexander's archers.
They were this close to
Worse
greatness.
still, the Macedonian
But
garrison
instead,
at
they
Cadmea,
get
noticing
oblivion.
the opportunity, broke out and caused even further disorder. When the king had his phalanx redouble their assault, the Thebans, realizing that the enemy was inside the walls, routed. Their cavalry managed to flee across into open country. The throng of stampeding, terrified hoplites was so great that the Electra Gate became clogged and could not be closed before the main body of Alexander's infantry got inside. Bitter, brutal street fighting followed, during which a contingent of Thebes' soldiery fought a valiant last stand near the Amphium. But the Macedonians and their allies, sweeping atop the walls and around the streets, butchered them from every side. Thebes was brutally sacked.
And burned.
Arrian tells us that the main culprits were Alexander's resentful anti-Thebes allies from Boeotia, such as the Phocians, Thespians, and Plataeans. But the Macedonians certainly played a part.
Yeah, I mean, they probably didn't like say specifically. They may have said specifically, but they were probably just like, we won't say anything. We're not gonna say anything.
Houses and temples throughout the city stormed, and their occupants murdered or subjected to outrage without limit, be they man, woman, or child. By nightfall, the bloodbath had claimed 6,000 lives, and 30,000 more were captured. Alexander entrusted the broken city's final fate to the allies, who had been long subjugated to it. As he probably intended, these Boeotians decided that Cadmea would remain garrisoned, but the remainder of the city was utterly annihilated, and its land divided among the allies. Every woman and child would be sold into slavery.
Alexander didn't fuck around.
Grisly fate reverberated
And because of this, I mean, because he
like
set an example, and because of this, every other one surrendered.
earthquake, prompting the execution of anti-Macedonian demagogues and the calming of revolts before they began. Compliance was the order of the day.
But they
Turning
still
his
hated
burning
him for
gaze
it.
to Athens, which had remained aloof, despite having played an obvious role in the outbreak. Alexander coldly ordered the great city to turn over 10 strategoi who had opposed his interests. Instead, an Athenian known as Demades went to Alexander and managed to persuade the king to forgive and forget, which he reluctantly did. But this final clemency didn't avail him in the long term. With Thebes' unprecedented and shocking extermination, Alexander hammered the final nail into the coffin of his relationship with other Greeks. Outwardly, they collaborated with cynical obsequiousness, as Peter Green tells us, but they never forgave him. After their first shocked terror had worn off, the attitude of the Greeks towards Alexander hardened into a bitter and implacable hatred. But for the moment, the king was not overly concerned with that. The invasion of the Achaemenid Empire was now imminent, and we'll talk about it in the next episode.
It's just really, really interesting. I love that shit. I should probably finish the greatest speech in history. I went on a wild goose chase.
But
I chased rabbits.
Depend upon us for their protection. My father went to the Peloponnese and put
Their house in order.
Then he was declared supreme commander of all the Greeks for the campaign against the Persians. An honor not just for himself, but for all Macedonians. This is what my father Philip did for you. Great enough on its own, but small compared to what you've gained from me. I crossed the Hellespont, even though back then the Persians still commanded the sea. I defeated the satraps of the great king
Love
Darius.
this speech. Goated speech.
And made you rulers of Ionia, Aeolus, Phrygia, and Lydia, and
took Miletus by siege.
The rest of the land surrendered willingly, and their wealth became yours.
It just emanates
All the
parental
riches of
energy.
Egypt and Cyrene, which I won without a fight, are yours now. Syria, Palestine, Mesopotamia, Babylonia, all belong to you. The wealth of Lydia, the treasures of Persia, the jewels of India and the Outer Sea. You are now satraps. You are generals and captains. What have I held back for myself apart from this purple cloak and diadem? Nothing. No man can point to my riches. Only the things I hold in trust for you all.
And he says that he's not. It's not one part of on his body that's not injured, on his front at least, because it's viewed as a sign of dishonor and disrespect if you have injuries and wounds in your back, because it means that you broke the phalanx and turned around, which is interesting.
And what would I do with them anyway? I eat what you eat. I get no more rest than you. Many times I have spent the night on watch so that you could sleep soundly.
And he's always leading the charge too, which is actually fucking amazing. I love that shit.
If you've got scars, strip.
He didn't like stay in the back.
I'll show you
Using
mine.
the thick of that shit.
There isn't one part of my body, the front at least, that doesn't bear a wound.
Ugh.
My body's
Bars.
covered in scars
Fucking
from every
bars.
weapon you can think of. Swords, arrows, stones, clubs. All for the sake of your lives, your glory, and your wealth.
I mean, that's also is mainly for his
And yet
though.
here I still am, leading you, as conqueror of land and sea, rivers, mountains, and the plains. We've celebrated our weddings together. Many of your children will be cousins of my own. I've paid off your debts without asking how you got them, even though you're paid well enough and pillage every city we take. Many of you wear golden crowns, badges of courage and honor given you by me. Any one of us who was killed, who met a glorious end, we buried with full honors. Many now stand immortalized by bronze statues in Macedonia. Their families are honored and pay no taxes. Under my command, not one man has been killed fleeing the enemy. And now, I wanted to send back some of you who've been wounded or crippled, or have grown old, to be welcomed back home as heroes. But since you all wish to go, then all of you, go! Go home and tell them that your king, Alexander, conqueror of the Persians, Medes, Bactrians, and Scythians, who now rules over the Parthians, Chorasmians, and Hyrcanians as far as the Caspian Sea, who's marched over the mountains of the Hindu Kush, crossed the Oxus and Tanais rivers, even the Indus, first to cross it since Dionysus himself. I would have crossed the Hyphasis too if you hadn't cowered in fear.
Yeah, that's such a bar. First to cross the Indus River since a fucking god. What do you got to say about that?
Who sailed into the Great Sea from the mouth of the Indus. Who crossed the desert of Gedrosia, where no one had ever led an army. Who took Carmenia, while my fleet sailed the Persian Gulf. When you get home, you tell them that when you made it back to Susa, you abandoned him and went home, leaving him under the protection of the foreigners you'd conquered. Perhaps this report of yours will seem glorious in the eyes of men, and worthy in the eyes of the gods. Be gone!
Don't shit. He said, "Go home and tell them that you left me in the hands of the people that you conquered, pussies." Anyway, I love that shit. But I'm going to end the stream here. It's been a good time. I love talking about history. I'm not going to lie. Talking about history is fun as fuck. Anyway, it's been real. I'm going to record my video tomorrow, and also I'm going to record a short tomorrow too. I should do it more, but yeah. I may play a game tomorrow for stream, unless something like big happens during the day. Anyway, peace. Have a good night, everyone.